Okay, welcome back. It's a new episode of the Made South podcast. I started calling it the Made South podcast now.
I noticed that. I was listening to one from earlier this month, and it was still the Southerner.
Right.
But I knew you had done the switchover.
Yeah, I just thought it was a little confusing.
Yeah, so there's kind of a confusing transition, but people will get there, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
You know.
I searched for Southerner,
and
this popped up.
Right, and it will still do that.
Yeah.
But just everything else is under Made South. I was like, why confused with Southerner? What is that?
Totally.
Who is that? Is that a different thing? Like, okay, no, let's just make it the same thing.
That's right. Yeah, makes sense.
And you know, I don't know how many straight days this is now, but I think it may be like 15.
Okay.
So day 15 out of 100.
Okay.
And you said it couldn't be done.
Well, we got a ways to go.
Well, that's true.
Got a ways to go, bro.
That's true. Here we are. This is a back porch session, a pavilion session.
A pavilion, yeah.
And I thought it would be fun for us to tell a story together.
Oh, law.
But you don't know what story it is.
Right. So I'm a little nervous.
So then I get to say, here's the story.
What are you deciding
Right.
that we're telling people?
So here's the title that I have in my head for this episode, okay?
Okay.
The Day Garth Brooks Drove Up Our Driveway.
Oh, that's a good one.
Isn't that a good story?
Yeah, we can tell that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to tell that story.
Yeah. Okay.
Because back in 96, oh my goodness, 2016.
2016.
Right?
Yeah.
Garth Brooks, the Garth Brooks.
The one and only.
Drove up our driveway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And spent the
Crazy
day. And spent the day at our house.
Yeah.
And that was a crazy day.
Yeah.
And it comes up every now and then, like you know, you meet people for the first time or whatever, and you're hanging out. I can't even think of the last time that it came up. Mm-hmm. But you're somewhere, you're hanging out. Garth Brooks. Oh yeah, I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan, and I always go, oh, you want to hear a Garth Brooks story? Mm-hmm. I've got a Garth Brooks story.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah.
And so I end up telling that story, and people are just like, oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be fun to tell that story.
That is a fun story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the prequel to that story, prequel? Is that the right? The
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
Of the story was that in 2016, our fourth child was born.
Correct.
So our little surprise caboose was born 4/4/16.
I don't know. We needed to tell his birthday,
Well,
but
I'm just saying. So
stranger danger.
But whatever.
Okay.
Anywho,
right,
but I was just going over that with him because to me that's a little like God gift, so that I could remember another kid's birthday.
Yeah.
Because it's a math fact.
Yeah.
You know. So I explained that to JD today when he was doing some handwriting.
Yeah.
And his eyes just got really big, like, oh, wow, God did that. But anyway, so JD was new. I think he was like 7 days old.
Yeah, I think we had been home from
We
the
were
hospital maybe
under
3 or 4 days.
the new baby rock.
Yes.
You know, we're talking, nobody's showering. Nobody's putting clean clothes on. Like, we're just, we are surviving with 3 kind of middle childhood children.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at the time
this
they were
brand new.
They were 10.
Like 10, 8, and 6?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So.
And we had not been home but for 3 or 4 days from the hospital. Mm-hmm. And we were, I mean, like people were bringing meals to our house.
Yes.
Still, you know? Friends were stopping by to see the baby. Mm-hmm. Oh, but we're not going to stay long. We know you're tired. Like, you know, we're exhausted. We're not sleeping.
Yep.
None of that. Mm-hmm. And I had scheduled my vasectomy consultation.
Yes.
My consultation.
Are you going way back?
No, because I had it on the books for the day that Garth Brooks came to our home.
Oh, that's right.
I had it.
Because that happened when he was new. Yeah.
And like we got home and you were like, hey, make the appointment. So I called, I made an appointment. They said, hey, we want to see you first, like a consultation. I was like, okay. So I had that consultation booked. Mm-hmm. And the day before, I was out in the driveway and I was throwing baseball with Jack and Will, our 2 older boys. And my phone starts vibrating in my pocket, and I answered it. And it was our friend Jeremy. And were we in small group? We weren't in small group with them at the time. No.
They were.
They'd moved on.
Old
Yeah,
small group friends. Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I think he asked me about the baby and stuff like that. You see the baby on Facebook and stuff like that. And Jeremy's a photographer, and he said, "Hey, I've got a favor to ask. I have a client. I'm supposed to be shooting them tomorrow at some farm somewhere." And we called today to confirm, and that place kind of flaked out on us and said, "Well, we don't have anything booked, and you can't come here." I don't know if they said it just like that, but that's the tone I had in my head. And he was like, "So I'm like scrambling. I need a place to bring this person, and so we kind of want somewhere outdoors and some scenery and some woods and stuff like that." And he was like, "I thought of your place,"
And he said, "You don't have to do anything. We're not going to be in the house. Like, we know that you're home with the new baby. We're not going to come in. We're not going to bother you. Can we just use outside?"
Yeah. He said, "You don't have to clean.
Yeah.
You don't have to come out. You
Music to my ears.
Yes.
No cleaning."
And, I think we're generally helpful people.
Yeah.
It was like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Of course. You're not going to, do anything like that. Or you don't need to come inside. We don't need to get ready." And,
So it was no big deal.
Yeah. And he said, "Okay." And
I think he told us, like, "Oh, by the way, I've got a little bit of a venue fee I can pay you."
Yeah.
And we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, great.
Yeah,
hey,
which
that's
was awesome.
gravy."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That was very nice. And so I was like, "Yeah, man, sure." Totally fine. And he asked if we could borrow the Ranger. Like, "Hey, I know you guys have that. Would we be able to borrow that and, drive around and look for places to like that we want to shoot?" And I was like, "Sure, absolutely." And he was like, "Okay, great. We'll call it done. Weather looks great. And by the way, it's Garth Brooks." And I don't know that I could speak for a couple of seconds. Like, he didn't know at the time what that meant. Like, he didn't know that we have, photos of me at probably 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. I don't know, maybe older, 13, in my bedroom with the Garth Brooks poster over my bed.
Okay.
Like, we have been.
We went through the Garth albums.
My goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our kids were actually, at the time, they were Miss Trisha.
Yes. They were watching the cooking show.
Because McKinley was watching her cooking show.
Yes.
So
they didn't really know about Garth Brooks. They probably heard his music, but they didn't. It's not like we were going, "Hey, this is Garth Brooks," and we weren't going through the catalog with our kids.
Right.
But they knew of Miss Trisha.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. So I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so then I started scrambling a little bit. Like, "Hey, man, I got one thing on the count. Like, if I could move that, is it okay if I hang out? If I hang around? Can I drive you around on the radio?" He was like, "Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Yeah, cool."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, my goodness." Yeah. And so I hung up. I called to cancel my vasectomy consultation.
Okay.
And I ran inside to tell you what was going on. And I don't even remember what that conversation was like.
Right.
It just seems a little bit blurry.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we had a less than 1 week old baby.
Yeah.
So the next morning, we get up. I can't remember. I think Jeremy and, his crew came out here maybe 9.
Yeah, they were here early, and they brought a camper. Right?
Yeah, like an RV.
Yeah, an RV pulled up, and that was kind of their home base. And, we just said hello. Let us know if you need anything, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, can we park it here? He'll be changing in here and doing something. We were like, "Yeah, sure." You know. And so he was like, "Can we hop on the range? Can we ride around? Just look around?" "Yeah, sure." So I drove him around a little bit. We looked at some different spots. "Oh yeah, this could be cool. That could be cool. Oh, this couldn't. You need all that good stuff."
Yeah.
It's where we met Alexis Cooper for the first time.
Oh yeah, because she worked for Jeremy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And kind of fell in love with her. She was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And And so we're just kind of figuring things out, and they all kind of get set, and everybody's just kind of hanging out. And then like 10:30, this SUV comes driving up.
Yeah.
And Garth Brooks gets out from behind the driver's wheel.
And we're trying to be cool in the house.
Oh, man, yeah.
But, I remember sitting in the sunroom, which looks out to the driveway.
Yeah.
With children and baby and like, oh my goodness, there he is. Oh my goodness, and
like he's standing there.
Yeah.
And hey, Mr. Brooks, no, man, call me Garth,
Yeah.
And shook his hand and,
Yeah.
he was just like, I appreciate you letting us come out.
Yeah. Kids ran out, right? Kids ran out to the meeting.
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was in the driveway.
Maybe I came out with kids. I do recall coming out to meet him in the driveway, and he was talking to Jack.
Yeah.
And
Jack loved checking out the RV. He was all up in the RV, kind of like, what is this, man? This is cool.
But I remember Garth was like, oh, you just did a burn pile?
Yeah.
Because he saw where we
had a burn
so
pile.
he was just so everyday, normal, kind.
Seemed like it.
Yeah.
Seemed like it.
Yeah, just such a nice and so appreciative. And, I took that baby back in the house and then I kind of needed to stay put. You know, I was tired and it was a lot to put on a real shirt and, comb my hair.
Look at that dead bee right there.
Oh,
Look
dead
at that
bee. That's
carpenter
another
bee.
story. Yeah, we're trying to rescue a table from carpenter bees, but yeah, so
him.
y'all kind of spent the day outside. I was inside with baby, and I did come out at one point. Maybe you texted me and said you got to come see this, but
and
y'all spent the day out with them.
I knew Jeremy had been kind enough to say like, "Hey, we'll definitely take some pictures of you guys with Garth." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Hey, great." I mean, it's like one of those things you would never want to ask for, but you'd love to ask for it, And I think he had given me like a heads up at some point, like, "Hey, if you want to get Kimberly and the kids out here," and they were kind of shooting back behind the little metal barn, and I remember you walked out and somebody, I think it was maybe Jeremy, was like, "Hey, Garth, would you mind if we?" He's like, "Oh no, absolutely. Can we take some pictures of you guys?" No, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
he took the baby.
he did.
He held JD.
He did.
And we all kind of gathered, around him holding the baby.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's taking pictures of us.
Yeah.
With Garth Brooks holding JD as he may be 5 days old at that point, 6 days old, something like that. And then this is the part that I'll never forget it because you hear these stories about him. Like I can think back to the flood concerts. Remember when the Nashville flood happened?
Yeah.
And he did this series of shows at Bridgestone to raise money for flood victims.
5 shows in a row.
I think it
7?
I think it ended up being like 8 or 10. I think.
I don't know about that, Thomas.
I think it ended up being a lot.
Okay.
And I remember we were getting family photos done that day. In fact, there's a picture of you and McKinley together that came from that.
Okay.
And we were down the road somewhere. I don't even remember who was shooting them. And I'm on my phone trying to buy Garth Brooks flood concert tickets. I ended up getting them to like maybe 2 shows.
Yeah.
And you can hear that bee.
Stupid bee.
Oh, that stupid bee. That stupid bee. He's down around my knee. Golly. Oh, no, there he goes. But I remember when he did the flood shows, like it crashed Ticketmaster's website.
Okay.
And then the story comes out that the day they kept doing, because they would put one out and it would sell out, and they'd say, "We've added another one," and it would sell out, and they'd say, "We've added another show," and they just kept adding them. And then the story came out that day when all that was going on, he sent pizza to the Ticketmaster offices.
Did he?
And bought like hundreds of pizzas
and
sent to him like, "Hey, we know this is crazy, and we just want to feed you and say thank you for taking it." And you go, "Well, who does that kind of thing?"
Yeah.
And so you got that story in your mind, and we're sitting there getting our picture taken with Garth Brooks, and he's holding JD. And I remember he goes, "Jeremy, can I get you to do something for me?" And he kind of motions, and he was sitting on like that stump.
Yeah.
And he kind of stood up, and he said, "Kimberly, come on." And he had you sit on the stump, and he handed you the baby.
Yeah.
And he stepped out of the way, and he was like, Jeremy, while I have you here, they have a new baby. Would you mind taking some family photos of them?
Right.
And I was just like,
so sweet.
Who does that?
So kind.
Who does it? Because Jeremy, world-class photographer. Like I don't think you could hire him to shoot family photos.
Right.
And he's taking family photos of us because Garth asked him to.
Right.
That I just couldn't believe he would do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then lunchtime happens. Mm-hmm. And I just remember, did you guys come out and eat lunch? I know the kids did.
No, I was in the house. Yeah. But y'all were out there at the old horse barn.
I remember the kids came out to eat. Mm-hmm. And Garth had gone up and changed in the RV. Mm-hmm. This did gum. Oh, golly.
Well, that's what you get for trying to swat a bee while you're...
Well, I got him, too.
I don't think so. He flew off.
Because I got him. But he kind of hung on to my finger for a minute. Well, I swatted at him.
Well, you swatted at him. You did not get him.
I'm changing the name of this to the episode where the bee attacked me.
Okay.
But I remember during lunch, he'd gone up to change. Everybody was kind of making plates and eating and everything. Mm-hmm. And he came walking out, like jeans, regular shirt, ball cap, had a guitar on, wearing a guitar, around a guitar strap. Mm-hmm. And he just was like picking the guitar and just like walking around. And then he just starts like, a dream is like a river. Yeah. And he played the river. Yeah. As we're sitting there.
Just for funsies.
Just for fun. Like, there are like maybe 7 or 8 people sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's Garth Brooks playing the river in our backyard. Mm-hmm. That I just couldn't believe that was happening.
Yeah. I think you were giving me texts, while I was inside.
Yeah.
Of, I can't believe this is happening. You got to come out here.
It just, you just go, how does this happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
And he was here like till 6 o'clock. He was here from like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. that day.
Maybe. Now, do you remember there was some kind of interaction with the kids where he asked them to drive him around, or he was so kind of like somebody asked him something and he said, Would you let me ride with you?
Yeah. I think it was Jack was asking. Because kids, we've got like one of those Polaris Ranger crew things, 6-seater. You drive around, and the kids they've always loved that thing. Mm-hmm. And so it was during lunch, or maybe they'd gotten finished eating or something like that, and people were kind of wrapping up downtime, and the kids were like, Mr. Garth, would you like to go ride around and see, he was like you would let me ride? Would you take me around? Yeah. It wasn't like I'll do it. It was like you would let me.
He was real sweet to
really kind of put on, and they were just like, we'd love to. And he was just like, sure. So he climbed in the back seat.
Between the boys,
I think between the boys. We got a picture of it.
Maybe McKinley's in the front. Yeah.
With me, yeah. And I was just like, what is happening right now?
Right.
And we drove him around, and he was just talking with the kids, and what a day!
What a day!
What a day!
Yeah. So that called us to, because that day they didn't know really who Garth Brooks was.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Again, they thought, oh, he's married to Trisha, So he got a real tickle out of that, because when I met him, I kind of expressed that to him, and he just thought that was so funny. But
they knew him as Trisha's husband.
Yeah. So, but that day caused us to pull out the old book of CDs.
Yeah.
And we started introducing the kids to all of the Garth music. Yep. And maybe it was that December, there was a winter concert at Bridgestone that I guess I left JD with Nana overnight. She came here, and we took the kids to a Garth show. Yeah. Because they knew the music. They understood who this was now. Yeah. And we took them.
That was their first concert.
Mm-hmm. Little Will what was he, 6? About 9:30, he was curled up in the seat, asleep.
I think
with
it
all
was
that
a
noise.
year and a half later because because one of the shots here ended
Yeah.
up being the cover of his like comeback album.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And so then I think that album came out, and then there was a tour.
Yeah.
And so I think it was.
So it was a ways out, but
a ways
whatever
out.
the next opportunity we had,
Yes.
we said we have got to take the kids.
Yeah.
To see. Yeah.
And we did,
And
and
they
held up.
loved
They held
it.
up signs like.
Yeah, they made signs with
I think
our.
they called him Uncle Garth.
Maybe
just as a joke.
like it's the Thomas kids from Gozy Hill.
Yeah.
So.
And it was a fun day.
Yeah.
It
It was fun. Yeah.
a very memorable day.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those days. I mean, it's kind of one of those special days in the history of our family.
For sure.
Like
yeah.
how Garth Brooks shows up at your house and holds your newborn and
Yeah.
gets the
That
photographer
definitely.
to take. Yeah, that's just
that was
crazy.
definitely the Christmas card picture that
That
year.
was our Christmas
Yeah.
card picture. It was all of us, and we called him Uncle
Oh, no,
Garth.
from Uncle- yeah.
And from Uncle Garth.
Yeah, we played that one for a while. So,
and,
that was so fun.
yeah.
Just what a nice man.
Yep. And he left a guitar here. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, he left a guitar here. And I was, because our neighbor Mike ended up coming over, if you remember that, with the horse.
Yeah.
And there are some shots they did with a horse.
Yeah.
And Mike and I were just sitting around afterwards like, oh, man, can you believe that?
Yeah.
And we look over, and in the corner of the old horse barn, there was a guitar case. And we were just like, so we pulled it out, opened it up. It's I don't know how you say, his brand of guitar is Takamine. I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
That's the only guitar he plays.
Okay.
And so there's this, black Takamine guitar in this guitar case. And I was just like, what?
Oh.
And I mean, there were a few minutes of deliberation. Like, well, how many guitars does a man own? I mean, he owns a lot of guitars.
Yeah.
He's not going to miss this one, right?
Right.
But ultimately, we kind of decided, like, we probably need
Gotta
to
do the right thing.
Yeah. So I had texted Alexis,
Yeah.
who was connected with his assistant.
Yeah.
And I was hoping and praying that they would say, you know what? Keep it.
Right.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Or that this was like some kind of like.
Or Garth will he'll come back and get it.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah.
send
And he
him-
may hang out,
Yeah.
or just, I was thinking like, is this a calling card of some sort? Does he, because you can't imagine he does like a ton of this. Mm-hmm. Does he, if he ends up at somebody else's home and, does he leave a guitar?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I just left it accidentally,
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe they'll just go, hey, he meant to leave it.
Uh-huh.
This
is new information to me. I
You don't
had
remember
no
this? Oh, yeah.
recollection
Yeah,
of
yeah,
this.
And
So you probably took it
no,
up to the factory and passed it off,
No.
and they got it
no,
to his people?
no. I think his assistant came back here and picked it up the next day,
I
or
don't know.
Alexis came and picked it up.
Yeah. I don't know.
One of the two. I don't remember. I'll have to text Alexis and find out. But
Yeah.
one of the two. But I texted her and just said, hey. And she said, okay, let me ask.
Yeah.
And then she said, they're going to send somebody to pick it up.
Right.
So somebody came to get it.
Okay.
And I was a little bit
Yeah.
bummed.
No, that's new information.
Yeah.
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 Are you sure that happened?
I'm 1,000% positive.
You're sure that happened?
Kimberly.
Okay.
What? Who was the one out there?
Hey,
in that barn
I get it.
waiting?
That's a lot of people that just forgot a prop. But it's in the corner, I guess.
Yeah. It was tucked away.
I believe you.
Why would I make that up?
I'm teasing.
I can't believe you're
I know.
accusing
I
me
just
of
can't
making
believe
this
I
up.
didn't know that. But I was inside just
Yeah, I mean,
surviving.
You
too.
had a 1 week old.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. For sure.
I don't know that you would remember a detail like, hey, there was a guitar left, but they're going to come pick it up.
Yeah,
That's
fair. That's fair. Yeah,
It was a fun story.
That's a fun story. Yeah,
very
it's
fun
fun
day.
to pull out sometimes.
I
It's
know.
one of those fun facts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have some great photos of that day. You know?
Uh-huh.
Oddly enough, we never got the family photos.
Yeah.
I feel like texting Jeremy and go, hey, man, Do you remember that family photo?
Yeah, we didn't get the family
We
ones,
got the
but-
ones with us and Garth.
Yeah.
But we didn't get the ones of just us.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
that's okay. We love that one of us.
Yes.
And Garth.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness. You kidding me? Mm-hmm. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought that'd be fun. And I didn't want to tell you until we turned the mic on, you know.
Okay,
I
yeah.
thought it'd just be fun to get your reaction. Mm-hmm. That way
Yeah,
it wouldn't
that's
feel...
that's a great story.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm full of them.
You are full of stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, on that note, I appreciate you doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Love you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.